poor communities. We were in communities where there were violence. We were in communities where it was hard for me to see people who were doing things other than what I was doing every single day. There was some drug selling, there was some stealing, there was some boosting. I was the lookout boy every now and then because I wasn't brave enough to do it. So I just say, I ain't gonna tell on you, but I tell you when the cops coming, I did all that. I did it all. I did all that, and was really close to a lot of danger. That poverty seeped into my life, and if you look at any hierarchy of needs, you know, we are built to self-preservate. And in order to self-preserve myself, I had to worry about, hey, how can I help my mom pay the bills? And how can I help my family take that next step? Yes. While also understanding the Pythagorean theorem. And I did both of those things. But life would happen. We never owned a house when we were a kid. My mom rushed in, and this is the back end of that story. She says, you know, our life is going to change. We have a family who wants to sell us a home. And we're going to own our home for the first time. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take y'all there and show it to you. We load up in the car, and we drive over to the house. And it was, I still see it, it's over in the East Lake area in Birmingham. And growing up where I grew up, it may as well been in Milan. And I look at that White House, and the first thing I said, me and my siblings, and this will tell you where we came from, I said, my goodness, this house has stairs in it. I said, we got a house with some stairs. I mean, I could not believe it. We start picking out our rooms. We were so excited. We rushed home. We started making our plans for closing day. And my mom was bold. She believed that this was the vision. She said, listen, it was time to renew our lease in our house. She said, I don't need to do that. We're about to be homeowners. She let the lease go by. We go to school. We go to work. We come back. And she assembled us for a family meeting. Me and my siblings, my stepdad, and she sat around and she said, well, I got news for you. The family changed their mind. And decided not to sell you the house. And so, in a couple of days, we would be homeless. And so, my family and I, we were homeless for a while. We stayed in a truck stop motel. And we cooked on a little griddle iron. And I would sit there, and I still pass by this motel every now and then now as a business owner and a consultant to others. Because I remember that kid sitting in that bed, looking out the window, watching those trucks pass by at night. And my brother, who recently passed away, he had one job. He said, I'm not staying in that motel. I got buddies to do. I got things to do in the streets. And God bless him for doing that, because his one job was to go to the house before they rented it out and check the mail. And he would go by, he would pick up the mail, he would come to the truck stop motel, he would pass the mail. Y'all got anything to eat? No, we ain't got anything to eat. He'd leave and go get something to eat. And one day he goes and checked the mail at the house that was no longer ours. And he comes back and he passes all the mail out, and he said, oh, I got one more envelope. He patted himself down, he pulled out an envelope, and he said, hey, Brent, I got one for you too. And I never got any mail. And he passed it over to me. And I had forgotten, you know, life had happened. I got the envelope, and everything came rushing back to my remembrance. The conversation with the teachers, the conversation with Deborah E., that bet of $20, and on that paper it said congratulations, and it was from Auburn University. Wow. And that was the day that an educator's belief in what I could become met me face to face in reality. I opened it up and I never looked back. That's right. I never looked back. Yes. And I want to talk to educators today about, not about that story, but about what you mean to the children you touch every single day. Yes. You are the vehicles of belief. When kids come to the classroom, they believe only what they're able to see that day. That A, that C, that D, that F, that going to the principal office, you being called that you can't do nothing, you being lifted up and saying you're the brightest. They only believe what they see that day. But educators, You have lived experiences. You've seen life. You've seen the highs, the lows. You've seen wins and losses. So you are able to see well beyond what those students are able to see. And getting those students in that classroom to believe that there is a tomorrow after tomorrow that awaits them that is so much better than what they see that day is the power you bring them every time you walk into a class. The other thing you are the vehicles for critical thinking. Whenever I hire anybody, I ask, are you kind? And we'll find out if you are. The other, can you do the work? We'll find out if you can. But the other is can you solve a problem? Life is a series of noble projects. And I always tell people that your job is picking the most noblest of those projects. And if you know anything about a project, there are things you have to solve. There are formulas, there are tests, there are things that will be broken, there are people who ain't gonna act right. But when you are in a classroom, these are microcosms of dealing with and addressing the problems of those noble projects. Getting students to practice that, to become critical thinking, is not something we're born with, it's something we earn through going through the travails that life has for us. Yes. Which leads to the third and probably the most important thing that educators do. You are the bestower of wings that allow students to overcome the trauma in their lives. Students, I don't care if you're rich, I don't care if you're poor, I don't care if you're urban, I don't care if you're rural. Growing up is hard. And if it was easy, everybody would be growing up right. But there are a lot of people who ain't growing up right. There are a lot of people who can't master this thing called life because life is filled with a lot of trauma. You know, science supports this. You can look at Erik Erikson's stages of development. If you miss one, you stay in one. If you're in stage 3, you can't get stage 3, you stay in stage 3 until you get it. This is biblical. If you look at the Bible, look all throughout the Bible, there are people who wrestle with trauma and how to overcome those situations in order to give birth to a new person. When you speak to those students every day and you give them skills necessary to master that class, you're also giving them the wings they need to overcome the trauma that they're facing as they travail through life. I want to talk about all of those things in a very succinct way. When teachers are effective, you are the creators of leaders. And I'm the beneficiary of great educators. And it is an honor to be invited here by Brother Wardell to lift up those teachers and to do so with an excellent body of people, an excellent body of Greeks who also believe in capturing and harnessing the spirit of excellence. Today is all about excellence. And to be a part of anything excellent is an amazing place to be. My final word is this. I spoke with the CEO, and I give advice to a lot of leaders, a lot of CEOs in higher ed and corporations, management consultancy. And I remember talking to a leader one day, and I told him, you know, I'm a pretty matter-of-fact guy. I think honesty wins every day. And I'm just honest, even if you don't like it. I told him, I said, listen, you need to tighten up. I said, your organization just ain't running like it need to be. And it's because of A, B, C, and D. You need to do this, and you solve this problem, you do this, you need to do that, you need to do this, you need to do that. And what he said to me was right, and it's something that is so precious today. He said, Brandon, the best things start out small and messy. I said, are you kidding me? I said, I do big. He said, but you ain't start big. he said, I need you to slow your roll, consultant. He said, I want you to think about a guy named Steve Jobs, small and messy in a garage. I want you to think about a guy named Jeff Bezos, small and messy. So we always look at that end result, but after listening to that and after studying it, finding humility, there is no better place to be than at the beginning of the small and messy of excellence. And this is where we are today. Let's just celebrate that.
Yes.
So thank you so much, brother.
You're absolutely right. It's definitely messy. I ain't even get no haircut. I don't even know if I brush my teeth. So yes. So you say the volume is on.
Is it on?
Hello. All right, great. Yes. So dynamic messages. I knew it would be Brandon. All of our speakers, all of their info is on the website, right? So if you see them and you click their Learn More button up under them, you'll either have a link to their Facebook page or their web page. So Brandon is the CEO of Wilbron Incorporated. And hey, a great speaker. When he finished up, I heard Principal White back there say, hey, I need him to come and speak to my folks. So you make sure you connect with her before this is all said and done. Pastor Means is the pastor of Uplift Christian Ministries in Charlotte, right there on Facebook as well. But he also has his own webpage. It's basically ucm.org, right? Yeah, so ucm.org. Pastor Harris, hers is exclusively on Facebook, right? And it's Extreme Worship Ministries at Facebook. She need a page one day. I might have to put that together for her too. So, one thing, I have my own educator story as well too, right? And so we're gonna keep it moving after I get finished. We roll with the punches here. And so ultimately, I was in the 4th grade. I felt like 1984 for me was a good year for whatever reason, right? And so my brother, that was his first year of college. So in my mind, in the 4th grade, I said, I'm going to college too, you know. And so he gave me that focus. But it was also a very significant event happened to me in the 4th grade. As a student, teachers generally liked me. You know, I was smart. I was coming from the projects, you know, a little smart little project kid. And my 4th grade teacher particularly liked me. And so I used to be really good at art. And I used to draw to my heart's content. And everything I drew, she'll put on her wall. And nobody else, just me. I'm like, 30 pictures. And so, sure enough, one day somebody came to the school and they wanted the school to have an entry in the statewide art award. And so everybody in the school was trying to choose me because my art all over the school anyway. And I was like, I don't want to do that. And she was a damn it. You gonna do this. Mrs. Moore, 4th grade, Mrs. Moore, R. Kelly Elementary. And sure enough, I still was like, no. And so the guy, we were supposed to do this live painting of, somebody sitting up, and they were supposed to have, finger paints and stencils, and I did all that. And she thought it looked good, but I didn't think it looked good. I was like, my friends look better, choose him. And she's like, nah, we choosing you. And so, sure enough, chose me, and I won. Won the statewide art award for the whole state. I got a 2-day trip to Montgomery, Alabama from Tuscaloosa. I got excused absent for school. It was on a Thursday and a Saturday. I got to meet Governor George Wallace. Yes, Governor George Wallace of that fame. Being in the 4th grade, I didn't know much about him, but trust me, my folks told me all. And my mom and my dad's sister, Miss Penny Brock, brought me down. And so they brought me down, came down both days. Sure enough, I got to meet, I shook the governor's hand on the steps, and then my art was on display in the state capitol for the whole year. And so, got $50, won $50 first prize. And so, she taught me to always enter the race, right? Even when you have doubt, somebody gonna be there for, no, you need to go ahead and do this, right? And so, that's literally why we're here. Because 84 was a good year for me. I wanted to go to school, I wanted to do college. That's where I met all these great people at, and this literally was giving me the ability to stand here in front of y'all today. And so, Mrs. Moore, wherever you are, we definitely appreciate that. And, they don't never know. They don't know in the moment how impactful you can be to them. And, but she was just like, I know this is good. I know your talent. We're going to enter it. We don't care what you say. And like I said, sure enough, that was a lesson learned for me. And so we're going to keep this thing going. And so we're going to have we're supposed to have a quick break right now. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna have a quick restroom break. Y'all come on back. Don't start mingling. We gotta get through this thing because we gonna CPT time. We got raffles out there. So everybody out there get a raffle ticket for it in the basket. We're gonna have our first prize. We're gonna have 5 minutes, then we'll be right back at 2:35. So we'll go from there. Thank y'all.